Hello there, Dash. How are you?
Doing well.
Oh, that's good. Welcome, everybody. It's once again time for some more WildStar news. The Settler's Path. That's what we're calling ourselves now, all right? Settler's Path.
New year, new name.
Yep.
Yep. With me, of course, I'm Cannon. I am, what did we decide to start calling the Dominion now? The Chua. Yeah, Chua. I'm guild leader of the Chua Imperium. No. I have Soul Guardian with me. Hello, Soul. He's
Howdy.
an exile. He's the side you don't want to play, the exile guild leader. And of course, we have
good guys.
the good guys, the terrorist,
Disorganized.
Freedom
and of
fighters.
course, sorry guys, and his XO Streeg. Hello, Streeg.
Yeah,
And of course, a new cast member for us tonight. We have Setsuko. Hello, Setsuko. Thank you for
Hello.
joining us. Did I actually say that right?
Robot.
I never know if I say the name right.
Yeah, that's right.
It is Setsuko, not some strange saying. I should
Right.
kill him in here though. He could really ruin that name. So sadly, this last Saturday, Carbine was not able to put on their stream that for the Spellslinger. Wow, Stalker. For the Stalker this last weekend. They said that they've moved it to this coming weekend, so we can't even talk about the Frost versus Pappy fight, which is a very big disappointment. That's what the show was going to be based on, was one PvP match. But one thing that did happen is yesterday Frost from Carbine went and had a interview with MMORPG, and we have the notes about that, and we've been taking a gander through them and coming up with ideas of what we like, and we decided we'd discuss this for a little bit before moving on to other topics. So who wants to start out? Sol, I think you saw something that really stood out for you, so tell us what interested you.
Well, it's something that, they've talked a lot about is the Elder game. And I thought it was kind of fascinating. I mean, because they've really kind of pushed this and said, they've had probably close to 2 years now in the Elder game. So, that's the major problem we have at MMOs is that we get to the level cap, and then what do we do? And it's that, ultimate question, like, do we have to wait another 6 months for an update? Do we wait months for people to get enough to the higher level to get to the right dungeon? It's always that's kind of what kills games, especially at launch when everyone wants to jump in and do as much level as they can because they're all excited. And so when I read this, it was just fascinating to see because, you're going to get your house, you're going to get some PvP, but it's amazing that there's a lot of, the majority of the stuff is really going to be at level 50. Like, you can't do war plots, you can't do veteran dungeons, you can't, a lot of even the stuff for your house won't even be there until level 50. So I'm glad they're pushing a lot of that stuff to the end of the game so that really we won't get bored, and the longevity of the game is going to be that more impressive. And I was pretty psyched about that.
Go ahead, Setsuko.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I think that's especially critical for games that are one, brand new IPs like WildStar, and two, games that are coming out of the gate, with their very first release. It's a little bit different when you have a game that's been out already, and we're talking about an expansion. They're not really. It doesn't. They'll add more stuff at cap, but new features and things like that are a good way to highlight, an expansion. Whereas with this initial release of WildStar, this is their game. Like, there's no new features that they can, kind of hold your attention with. Like, everything that you get with that first box is gonna be the game, and so having all that content at the end when you get there is what's gonna hopefully hold players over until we can get that expansion that has, new features or, some other rodent race for the exiles. Who knows?
No rodents.
We know all the exiles going to be crying for the rodents. We know that.
Maybe like a cockroach race.
That would be cool.
Yeah, that is
one of them.
That is kind of exciting. Is that they're looking at the long haul. They really want to keep their player base, and they know what keeps it is the people at the end. Not saying that you can't re-roll and try something else, which is also what they push. Actually, it seems like they're pushing everything from every direction, which is kind of crazy for them. It seems like I've never seen a company do that, huh?
Yeah.
But how about you,
for
Street?
months.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying for months they've talked about, how we've played all these games, we've been there and done that, and now we're taking the best of what we've seen and putting into this game. And we're all thinking like, oh, that sounds great, but come on. Is it really possible? I don't know now, but they're getting closer. And maybe this is why they set the game back 6 months,
I think we've all seen an awful lot of games come out since, the early days of EQ and World of Warcraft, where they're like, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and you hear all these promises, and then you get the game, and it's like, well, where's everything you said was going to be in there, And right. I think they're showing already that they're going to come out of the box right off the bat with some endgame content and a whole bunch of stuff already all ready to go, which is good, because I mean, how many games have you played that they says, oh, we'll release it, we're working on the end game, and by the time you get to end game we'll have it ready, but they release it, you got bugs, they always have bugs, they fix those, all of a sudden everybody's hitting leveling cap and they haven't had time to finish up the end game content. People get bored waiting, then they leave, and then they release the end game content and there's nobody left around to play it. So it's good to see finally a game come out and say, okay, we're going to have this ready before we release the game, because we may not have time afterwards.
That's a strange concept indeed.
Yeah. And I was going back to those quests somewhere along the same lines, and I know we heard this, I can't even remember how long ago, but they always focused and said that, hey, when we're building our game, we're going to focus on the 1%ers. I'm sure a lot of you guys remember that. And in this Q&A, I noticed that there was a topic brought up about, casual players and the gear that they'll have. And Frost came right out and said, hey, look, if you're a casual player, you're going to be able to get gear for the content you're doing. If you're expecting to be a casual player and having the most Uber gear in the game, it's not going to happen. So I thought it was really refreshing that all this time later, when you go back and revisit that question, that they're still got that path going on, saying that if you want the best stuff in the game, guess what? You're going to have to do the hard dungeons and the raids and the Uber content if you want the Uber gear. So I was real happy to see that.
I think it was Jeremy Gaffney in a similar interview was asked about that, and the thing that he said was having players like that who do that top tier content, having them separate from everyone else, where that's something that you earn, that's something that you have to organize for, is actually healthy for a game, because even though you have a large group of, maybe casual players or something like that who are going, hey, we want this gear, we want to do this, we want to do that, on that side, by having those players, you have given everyone something to strive for. And there's people who can regulate their gameplay and know the kind of style that they want to play. So if they want to approach the game from a casual perspective, they're going to be okay with having the gear that suits that casual play style. But for everyone else who sees those people, they're going to do one of two things. They're either going to whine about it, or they're going to find out what they have to do to get into that content and to be a player who's able to earn that. And, he said that's healthy, and they're definitely going to support that.
Yeah. So anything? Go ahead.
I was saying, and it's healthy. Yeah, I mean, it's really healthy, too, for the idea that you're not paying to win. It's like these people are getting in there and just putting the time in, and not even the time, but it's like just the organization. When you have a 40-man raid, that's a lot of details to really get that thing rolling, and to get everyone to do it. I know it kind of,
yeah.
But that's what's kind of amazing, and so people will realize, okay, I can do everything by myself. I can do war plots. I can work on my house. I can do other just random PvP maps. Whatever those are going to be, and I can do questing. But if I want to do the next tier, I'm going to have to find the like-minded individuals to get together, do it, plan it, and so it's we all have lives. But if all of a sudden it's like, oh, I have vacation, or I have this time in my schedule now, it's like I can work on this. And so it's good that they keep you there when you just have an hour or two, or if you want to put 6 or 12 in. And I think it's almost like Vegas. It's like when Vegas was first around, they wanted the big whales because they thought they would make the most profit off these guys that were dropping millions of dollars. Well, no, it was the people that would come in on the penny slot machines. So what they do, they have tons of slot machines for everyone that's small, but they also have those rooms for those big guys and everyone in between. So everyone can have fun no matter where you're at.
Exactly. Good point.
I like it. It's a good idea. It works in Vegas. It works on the Nexus.
Right.
What happens in the Nexus? It doesn't stay on the Nexus.
Yeah.
Like it.
Hopefully not.
Well, Setsuko, how about you? Anything from those notes that makes you go, that's kind of interesting?
I saw something that's kind of interesting, but I'm honestly not quite sure how I feel about it.
Okay.
They've mentioned here, someone asked about mounts having different utilities and different customizations, which is something that Carbine had kind of mentioned they were going to do before. But the response from Frost was that some mounts will have different abilities, and he gives the example. He says hoverboards can go on water and double jump. A Mordesh purple dinosaur mount, Barney mount, I guess, runs fast, but can't double jump or go on water. And then he says there's no underwater mounts available at launch. And on the one hand, I like the idea that mounts are sort of different, customizable to an extent. I know previously they've said stuff like, there might be a mount that has a larger shield but runs slower. Some that even after your shield's broken, they can keep running for a little while. Things like that. So I like that idea. The thing that kind of I'm not so sure if I like it or not is the fact that the customization is on a specific mount and not something that you are able to add to your mount. Like if I wanted to be on a double jumping purple dinosaur instead of a fast purple dinosaur, I think that would be interesting. I can see why they might keep it mount specific like that, just so maybe if you're in PvP and you see the guy on the purple dinosaur, you'll be able to go, oh well, he can run fast but he can't double jump. But at the same time, it's always nice to put some of the power into the hands of the players, and for just the purposes of your character, your mount that you choose. I know World of Warcraft, I always liked the tiger mounts and that kind of stuff, and since they were all equal, aside from mount speed, which was something you bought on a character basis, I could choose the one that I thought was the coolest without having to worry about its special ability. So I don't know, that kind of stood out to me. So what do you guys think about that?
I kind of like it because the person that goes after all those mounts and everything like that, it kind of make me give me a sense of accomplishment. Well, this one does this and this one does this. I'd like that idea. It would kind of be really interesting to me, especially to know that, hey, I might not have a double jumping purple dinosaur, but it runs really fast. That would really excite me. But
yeah, I agree. I kind of like it because I look at it, on one hand, it gives them, for economy base, you always need some sort of money sink. And if you have it where multiple mounts do multiple different things, it gives people kind of a sense of purpose to want to go out and buy more than just one mount because they want it for different, depending on what they're doing. If they're just going from point A to point B, maybe they want that really fast dinosaur. If they're hunting around a water area, they want that hoverboard that's going to float or whatever. So it gives them a good money sink, which I think is good for the economy. I also think it's good because it gives the players kind of like what Cannon was saying. It gives you something else to actually shoot for instead of just saying, oh, I've got the fastest mount and all the other mounts look different, but they all do the same thing, so why waste any money? Here you can go out there and say, ooh, look, I can swap around my different mounts, and they actually aren't just a different picture or different pixels. It actually means something, which I think has been lacking in a lot of MMOs is meaning and stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, it
that,
sets a priority. I mean, really, because if you have a certain class that, if you're a tank and you want something that has a shield, it's a little slower but it's beefier, then that's the first one you're going to go for. I mean, or if you want something that's going to help your Esper or whatever. So I think it gives people, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to go get a pet today. Like, I don't care. Whatever one I get, it'll be great. It'll be grab bag of pets. No, I'd rather have something where I'm shooting for. I mean, it kind of reminds me of like a Dragon's Prophet thing where I was looking for a certain dragon that had the certain aspects that I was looking for my character.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd all like to have a purple dinosaur that we could strap rockets to that would go faster, but it just, you know what I mean? It just seems a little too much where, like, the same idea, it's like if you have an amazing elite weapon, some legendary thing, and then it looks just awesome, and everybody, and of course you just want to show it off. And then someone has like this puny little dagger, but it does the same thing as my sword. You know what I mean? Like people can't tell visually, and it just wouldn't be the same because most MMOs are about showing off your bling. Come on.
Right.
So I think people, like you were saying before, I think people in PvP and just the normal game mechanics, they kind of need to see visually what you have without going so far. Like you see something like, oh, I kind of know what that does. And then it does something the complete opposite. It would kind of throw the game like really off balance, and I don't even know how you would balance that.
well,
It would be tough to do.
yeah, and more what I was saying is it's if they could, a lot of times you'll see a piece of gear, it looks cool, and then you'll inspect it and it has terrible stats, or vice versa, it looks horrible and it has great stats, and more of what I was saying is like make the mount the base, and then the customizations themselves you could still earn them. Maybe they're raid drops, maybe you have to earn them through PvP, maybe you have to use the elder currency at the end game to get them, and then whatever customization you earn, you could then put that on the mount of your choice so that the customization is still there. You still earned it. You just get to choose the visual representation of it. And I think that's a cool idea. That's why I'm kind of sort of on the fence, because I do understand having the mount like instantaneously, okay, that's a hoverboard. It can hover over water. But at the same time, I think they could, just separate the two components and make the customizations what you have to strive to earn. But who knows? I mean, for now, it sounds like it's just each mount does a different thing, but you never know what they're going to do in the future.
Yeah, I mean, the only way I could see where it'd almost be feasible is if you get the mount and it has like a slot for some kind of aura or something. It has that upgrade that you add to it, and then it gives it a red glow or blue glow. So at least it gives it some indication that people know it's been upgraded, so to speak. Yeah. So I think that might.
Or you get rockets.
Or visual rockets,
Visual effects.
But yeah, I mean, I could see if they did something like that. I mean, really, like almost like you start off with the base model, like you're saying, and all of a sudden it starts adding wings and it starts getting higher and bigger, and you just see kind of all the add-ons you have. I mean, I guess that would work. I mean, that would be kind of neat.
My purple dinosaur has big metallic jump boots.
All I know is they said in one of their videos that you could have a dinosaur with lasers. I want a dinosaur with lasers. I don't want a fast purple dinosaur. I want lasers.
Freaking laser beams.
I want a little T-Rex with laser beams. Exactly.
Yeah.
It has no range, but it has lasers.
It's fine.
Do you and mate? What I actually would kind of like to see is, this is kind of along the lines of mounts as well, but what it would kind of be, it's kind of an off-the-wall dream, I guess, for me in this game, but what I would like is to have the grinder, your motorcycle with a front tire that kind of hovers. I'd like to have that bike customizable with weapon packages so we could PvP on bikes. That is what I want. I want a PvP on bikes because I think that would be freaking awesome. That's just...
I thought they mentioned something about that when they were talking about war plots.
Did they? Because I can't remember, to be honest.
Vehicle combat. I'm not sure. I vaguely recall that from a war plot video, but I would keep your hopes up because I think it's going to happen.
Right. You can take your motorbike. I'll take my tank.
I'll take my Dinosaur with lasers.
Yeah, you got your dinosaur with a laser that double jumps.
I can't grab you, but I'll shoot you.
The one last thing that kind of got me is well, it's kind of an important feature in every MMO, and it's really really important. Is fishing is not going to be in the game until after launch.
Thank
Oh
God.
no.
I like fishing. Dang it.
That's why I was taking the same approach as you guys the other day. And I was saying this to Strig. I'm like, oh my God, they're actually putting fishing in this game. He's like, I like fishing. I was like, oh. I felt like this small.
Hey, I don't care. To each their own. They're each their own. I don't think I've seen any videos that show any kind of real water outside of little streams and stuff, so I'm not sure where exactly they'd put in fishing unless the higher levels have like big lakes and ponds in them or something. But I always loved fishing. I remember Vanguard, I had my little house out on an island on the beachfront, man. I'd go sit in my boat or on the beach and sit there and fish. And oh yeah, I can find all sorts of way to kill time, man.
That's going to be the first $40 expansion. Fishing.
That's a
thing.
WildStar fishing.
Fishing.
Can I use a chewa as bait?
I actually was trying to imagine the sort of fishing that they would have in WildStar, and all I can think of is throwing a grenade in the lake and picking up the fish.
Fishing. See, in Vanguard, the fish you caught, you could actually take the fish and put it in your house, either on a plate or hang it on the wall or something. It was pretty awesome.
So you could have one heck.
I can have a catch.
Check. Sorry.
That's something if you I watched a couple of I think it's Onrez's crafting videos, and he shows the crafting has gathering rather has like the critical procs that you can get, like specifically he had the worm tunnel for mining, so you'll go out and you'll mine, and like you'll get this opportunity where there's a tunnel that you can go down in, and you have like 2 minutes to harvest as many nodes as you can. There's no enemies, there's nothing, it's just a big underground tunnel. And I'd be interested to see what kind of criticals they have, for fishing. Like, maybe the fish comes out and you got to fight it. Or I think it'd be hilarious if they had a fish tunnel and you just go underground and grab as many fish as you can.
Whoa.
Oh my God. But I've actually played games, though, when you fish and occasionally you'll catch something and it'll just be a mob and it could be a lot higher level than you and just kill you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no.
So there's possibilities of that kind of things happening, and yeah, I mean, you catch it, and if you actually kill it, then you get some great rewards for it. So I mean, it's worth it. But yeah, I mean, they're gonna do some twist, it. I mean, but I could totally picture like someone in a little boat just throwing dynamite over the side, like Can said. Like seriously, that's pretty much how it's gonna go. I think.
You gotta take your little net and see how many you can scoop up before they come
before they
back
disappear?
conscience.
Before they turn an attack. Oh God! So
was it EQ that you could fish and you'd bring in like an old boot or something? Or am am I dating myself too far back?
What's EQ? No.
Yeah.
That would be a great trophy on your wall of your house, though. An old boot,
An old boot.
That'd be classic.
Kind of like that idea of actually, having the fisherman's getaway for your house. That would be pretty cool. I could see you doing that.
Like a fishing pond or something.
Oh yeah,
put out. That'd be pretty sweet.
With a brewery right next door.
Don't do it because it's going to be like 72 hours. Or be like, where's Streak been? Oh, he's on his plot.
Fishing.
3-acre pond. Yeah.
Fishing and drinking.
He'll have the old beer bottle, a beer can as a bobber, just sitting there. Dum dum dum.
You just go to his plot and you just see a loot explosion of fish everywhere. Just piles and piles. I don't have any bag space.
I bet you the cooks will love you. Oh, excellent. Well, anything else you guys want to talk about? that was found.
Chewas, man. Chewas can be medics.
That's right.
How crazy
That
is
was
that?
the big one. People have been crying for it.
Yeah, another example of them
90s.
actually listening to people. That's what's crazy is that they actually listen to what people wanted. And I don't know why people want a Chewa to be a medic, but apparently by launch, Chewas will be able to do everything. His favorite race, I guess. I have no idea. But I thought that was a big deal that they actually changed that because I don't know, like they're death machines, kind of crazy psychopaths, and I'm like, so now they're gonna heal. So I think they really went on a limb with kind of the lore just to please people, and that's very telling, I think.
I mean, they try to twist it towards the medic DPS side, which I understand, but the other half of that is the healer side, and somehow I just don't see a Chua saying, "Oh, let me heal you." Yeah, right.
Yeah, I've got two thoughts on that, and one is I mean, if you could pull it up somewhere, then you can shut me right down. But as far as I know, the lore is there as a basis, and they like to use it. But I don't think their intention was to make the class race combinations super restricted. I think it was more of a time and resources, and let's get this game to launch kind of a thing. But I mean, even outside of that, if I'm totally wrong on that, on the Dominion side, I mean, if you wanted to play a medic, your options were Cassian or Makari. That's it.
A little limited.
You had two choices. So I mean, even if it twists the lore a little bit, I mean, there's at least a third option. Because that's the thing about this game and the classes. The classes are so unique. They're so different, and they all have just such cool abilities and stuff like that it's pretty easy to get attached to a class itself. So going in and only having two options, getting on the Dominion side. I know the Exile has three, I believe. I think you can be human, Mordesh, and Granok.
For medic, but what about the Esper?
Right.
Isn't the Esper limited to just the human and the Orin on the Exile side, I believe? I could be
It's
wrong.
Actually, it is, but Dominion is the same way as human and Shuva.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean,
right.
in most cases,
limited.
it's still limited to two. So all of a sudden, they've expanded the medic to three, when a lot of the other classes have only two races that can play them. So I mean, I agree with you on the lore sense, but as far, I don't know, it just seems like an awful lot of classes are limited to two, and
right.
now all of a sudden
that's
the medic, they felt they needed to go three just to make people happy, I think.
That might be the case, but that's also where I said, I don't think the intention is to have the classes super restricted. I could be wrong, but
Could be.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't really care. I mean, not that
I
I'm
don't
touch a
don't.
Dominion class anyways, but but ultimately I don't care. I was a little surprised that, I think because the Esper, I believe on the Exile side, like I said, I think could only be Orin and human, and it kind of surprised me on that one because I always kind of pictured the Mordesh being so intelligent and everything. I kind of figured that the Esper would, being an intelligence kind of would fall into line with a Mordesh. So I was kind of surprised to see that the Mordesh couldn't be an Esper. So I don't know. Like you said, maybe it's just a timing. They only have so much time they can't do it for all of them. I don't know. What do I know?
Right now, though, Espers, can only be human and Orin. And then Dominion is only Cassian and Chua. So we both have two. So I guess if nothing else, it was just a balancing issue they wanted to do, just so that the Dominion had a third option for the medic.
Oh, okay, that could be.
You know what I mean? If that's as simple as that, then I can understand it because I think that would be the race. I mean, they're good with explosions. It was that old lore, if you know how to kill, then you know how to save someone, kind of thing. Right. Especially when it comes to technology or whatnot. So I guess it would kind of fit in. But
and Drac and Medic, that would be the alternative. And
yeah,
they just seem.
Who wants that?
I
would be
guess
some
all,
kind of
I
weird
guess all
blood match.
Dominion are evil, so any of them being a healer is just kind of odd. So I guess it doesn't matter.
I don't know why we bother having healers. I mean, geez,
I don't know either. I can see
roll
all the
over you
Dominion
with-
just saying, "You're injured, just die. Come on, get out of my way."
It's like I guess the exiles can only heal then. Can't get anything else
Yeah,
done.
yeah.
Just stand around. Band-aid, band-aid, band-aid.
Orange
hug you
want to
to death.
save everything.
Oh, for the
kill you with
viewers
that
out there, if you didn't know, Dominion all the way. So just
Woohoo.
so you know.
Oh yes, we were also supposed to spend the cast yelling back and forth between Dominion Exile. So
That's right.
half hour Dominion.
Exile.
All right.
You can all heal if you want. I'm going Stalker. The heck with all
I'm
you.
just,
I'm a ninja.
I'm just imagining at the end of a raid, and Orin, being all lovey-dovey like an Orin is going up to the raid boss and healing the raid boss and bringing him back to life. You all have to fight him all over again. We sent
Hate
over
when
our
that.
we sent our Chua medic over and put a bullet in the guy's head. Jeez,
Right.
Oh, please.
I know. I'm a little
Chua,
vicious.
all he would see is the ankles. He can't even see the head.
All right. Well, I think we've killed enough time for tonight, so thank you for your thoughts, gentlemen. Like I said, next week we should be able to talk about that Stalker cast that they're going to do and the epic Pappy versus Frost PvP match. I think we're going to do the entire show on one PvP match. Now, I'm imagining
Epic.
having chalkboards and little circles and X's and arrows. We're going to do it Madden style. So be prepared.
God.
Well, the Frost interviews did come out and say with a lot of things, a few weeks, in a few weeks, in a few weeks, in a few weeks. So hopefully one of these weeks they will expand the NDA lift on things beyond level 15 so we can start. I really want to hear stuff about the war plot. I really do. That's kind of the thing on my mind right now that I've just not heard enough about, and yet I'm really excited to see how the war plot plays out. So there's a lot of stuff that I'm just really want to see.
Yeah, I gotta agree with you.
Exactly.
And just a reminder to people, it's only the press. It's that level 0 to 15. That's the NDA has been lifted for. Regular players are still under the NDA, so don't go blabbing saying, I'm in beta.
Cannon, what are you doing?
And Cannon is in trouble. All right, gentlemen. Like I said, thank you. Stay tuned for our EQ Next cast, which is coming up next. Amazing. And, of course, Setsuko, you have another cast coming up here soon, don't you? Something new starting up?
Yeah, starting this Monday, I've got the very first ever Grievance LOL Embassy cast coming up. It's called the Summoner's Report, and it should be not 100% on time, but it should be around somewhere between 6 and 6:30 Central Time on Monday, and then we follow that up with a Monday Night League of Legends session. So should be pretty good. We got a lot of stuff to talk about.
I was just about to ask you, hey, for those people that don't know, what does LOL mean?
We're just
yeah.
gonna laugh for a half.
That's what we do here. All right, like I said, thank you, gentlemen. I hope you have a good evening. And good night to all the viewers.
Later, guys.
Night all.